I'm not sure when this is going to be released, but Joanna, I am crazy busy getting leads and a lot of leads that I'm not taking. Have you found that your agents are getting a ton of leads this year?
I have found that I had agents hit milestones a week early this AEP versus last AEP, where I had agents hit 50 new Medicare Advantage customers in a week this year, whereas last year it took us like 18 days.
It's crazy. I think it's because of all the changes and people now are they're in a tizzy because there were plans that got significantly changed.
People
There were
actually read
plans
their
that got
ANOX
canceled.
this year.
I know.
People actually
It's
read their ANOX this year because I'm getting the calls going, Joanna, they're going up from $30 to $55 on my specialist. We got to talk. My clients are calling me and my assistant's booking them and stuff, but my clients are like, we got to talk.
there's a lot of upheaval, which means that there's a lot of opportunity in the Medicare world. I'm actually working more days than I normally work. I normally I don't work on Wednesdays. I've opened that up completely, and then
Mm-hmm.
Fridays is still blacked out for me. But my assistant, I call that my secret appointment day. So
Mm-hmm.
my assistant can schedule those Fridays for clients only,
Mm-hmm.
not for prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm spending a lot of time now, though, on my existing clients, and I've told my assistant to try to schedule prospects with my new downline, Catherine. So I'm not getting as many prospects
Mm-hmm.
this year. And I counted it up, and I've got 30 prospects on my calendar right now.
Okay.
And you know how usually towards the end you get more and more people that want to talk.
Mm.
So we'll see. I don't think I'm going to do the 65 new clients in January like I did for 2025. This year so far, 2025 clients has been 103.
I think this year for people who have sizable books like you and my other top producers, the name of the game this year for them is retention because of the plan changes. So all retention is good retention. There's a saying, correct me if I'm wrong, it's one in the hand is worth two in the bush.
That's
Okay.
right, because you
So
already got them.
it's easier for me to take a phone call from a current client. I had one of my clients email me at midnight the other day, and she follows me on Facebook, and so she it's been crazy over here. Kathy, thankfully here in Houston we have 100 hospitals.
Yeah,
Not everybody
but
has that luxury. I didn't have that luxury in crazy. Atlanta has a big metropolitan area, and they didn't have that many hospitals. Here we do. And they treated her nicely at the second hospital. They did an exam, gave her some peace of mind. Then she was having contractions earlier this week and everything. And I'm like, all right, here we go again. I was like, and
so for the
so
listener, I just want to give you some advice. Don't make big life-changing decisions during AEP from this point out because probably not the best time of the year to do this, but when you're picking up a baby, hey, you
I think
gotta.
I think having a baby is the only thing you can't really plan around AEP, okay, Kathy? And Kathy and I are both single and no kids, so we laugh at each other. Kathy's not single; she has a husband.
Right, but
Um,
you won't be able to say no kids in a little while here, hopefully, with
Hopefully,
God willing.
if everything goes well, but I'm expecting her any day now, which has changed a lot because so we did confirm it was Braxton Hicks, and the Harmony is her name. She gets to bake a little bit longer, hopefully, and we want her to bake as long as possible,
Of
right?
course. Right.
Um,
So
so
aside from that, though, which makes your life busier right now, we wanted to talk to the listener about how can you make this busy time productive and what can you do? Because, like for me, this morning I had an email from somebody, and a couple years ago I would have met with them.
mm-hmm,
And the email said, "Hey, we're snowbirds.
mm-hmm,
We're from X state. We're talking with our broker, and we've heard that there's a lot of providers that might be terminating their relationship with this insurance company that we're with. Can
Mm-hmm.
I schedule a meeting? And honestly, I used ChatGPT to help me come up with something that was nice, but it was a firm no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because first of all, they're licensed in a state that they live, their primary residence is a state that I'm not licensed in,
Mm-hmm.
and they are working with a broker. Do
Mm-hmm.
they even know that that's how we get paid?
No, they
So,
probably don't.
so the ChatGPT, let's see if I can read it to you. So, listeners, I love ChatGPT to take the concept that I always write it first, and I
Mm-hmm.
have ChatGPT make it better. I don't have it, but you have to tell ChatGPT basically what you want to say. And this one was, I changed it 3 or 4 times before
Mm-hmm.
I got it right because the first time it offered for me to meet with them, and I'm like, no. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second time it offered for me to talk to their broker, and I'm like, no. So this is what it wound up saying, and I changed it from this too, but I'm looking at my chat GPT. It says, thanks so much for reaching out. It's great to hear from you. You're correct that several South Carolina providers are planning changes to certain Medicare Advantage contracts for 2026. It's definitely wise to look into your options early. Since your permanent residence is in the state, I wouldn't be able to serve as your broker unless you officially change your residence to South Carolina. Each
Mm-hmm.
broker is compensated and licensed based on this client's legal state of residence. So I can only assist you with plan comparisons or enrollments in states I'm licensed in. That being said, one option some snow and by the way, I had to tell ChatGPT to say this.
Mm-hmm.
That said, one option some snowbirds consider is a Medicare supplement plan paired with a standalone Part D prescription plan. Unlike Medicare Advantage, a supplement plan works nationwide with any provider who accepts Medicare, which can make those things simpler for those who split time between states. If that's something you'd like to explore, your Rhode Island broker can review the details with you based on your current residence. And if you ever do establish South Carolina as your official home base, I'd be happy to help you navigate all the local plan options and ensure you're set up with coverage that fits your needs here. And then it says, thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. But a few years ago, I would have said, sure, I'll meet with you. Sure, I'll talk to your broker. Sure, I'll waste my time. No, I don't for that. They've
I,
already told me in their email that they're working with a broker and that they're in another state for most of the year. So listeners, this time, and I'm sure Joanna agrees with me 100%, you have to safeguard. So listener, the thing is that when you're busy, crazy busy like we are right now,
mm-hmm.
and I think it's every insurance agent is busy right now unless you've not been in the business. If this is your first AEP, you might not be as
Yeah.
busy. But if you have a clients, I bet you could more than double this year, more than triple. So you have to safeguard. If someone tells you they're not going to work with you, why are
Mm-mm.
you wasting your time?
When you do the needs assessment at the last page, you can actually just book on my calendar without asking for an appointment. You could just book on my calendar and see what's already open.
I took that off mine.
It's fine. But this gentleman did not want to fill, he gave my assistant pushback on filling out the needs assessment. And then I texted my assistant and said, listen, he wasn't with me last year. I don't know if his prescriptions from 2 years ago and his doctors from 2 years ago are still current. And so and then I, my assistant, I said, listen, he's not my current client. I don't have to talk to him. And so when my assistant told this gentleman, you didn't do business with Joanna and you're not her current client. So if she talks to you, it's as a courtesy. Then he gave less back. But then he calls my assistant back and says, well, I don't know my doctor, so I can't finish it. But I've never heard of a broker requiring this information before they talk to me. And I said, John, if he doesn't know his doctors,
How are you supposed to know?
how am I supposed to do a fair comparison and help him select a plan or tell him his current plan is fine if I don't know his doctor's network? I said,
That's
what would
right.
happen if I took that appointment is we would spend 45 minutes, times probably more because his wife and his mother in law. Oh, okay. Well, get me your doctor's, email it back, yada, yada, yada. And then
Yep.
would have to have another appointment and more wasted time. And maybe they do business with me, maybe they stay on their plan, right?
And that's exactly what happens. And this is why we have everybody fill it out. Now, that being said, I do spend time correcting, you know,
I will correct it, but at least here's the thing: if you don't know your doctors, are they really valid to your needs?
I get
You,
them to say on the recorded line,
mm-hmm,
if they can't figure it out or whatever, I get them to say, you can take that off. Same thing with medications. I was
mm-hmm,
talking with somebody yesterday, and there were two medications that were just, they weren't covered.
mm-hmm,
And I said, well, maybe you need to stay on Medicare Advantage because they were switching. They actually got this
mm-hmm,
person approved. I was shocked that I got them approved for a Medicare supplement plan, and then we started working on the drug plan, and
mm-hmm,
their drugs were going to be like, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000. And he's
mm-hmm,
like, no, that drug is zero or $10 or whatever. And I said, well, not on. I said it's not covered. Basically, your two prescriptions are not covered by any Medicare drug plan. And he said, okay, well, I don't take it that often, so you can take it off. And I said, okay, you're sure? I can remove it because it's not going to be. And I make sure your calls are recorded. Make sure if you're doing business over the phone, you get them to say that. Don't make them repeat it because if it turns into a complaint, you have proof that they're the ones that I said, I cannot remove this without you. And
that's
also,
right.
when they say, well, I don't take it very often,
Mm-hmm,
and I say, well, how often do you purchase it?
mm-hmm,
I don't know. Maybe I said, I can't do this for you. I take it as need. I said, I cannot enter just a date, just an amount for you.
mm-hmm,
You have to tell me what to enter here. And usually they're looking at my screen because I use a Paul Crank wheel to share my screen, which is, by
mm-hmm.
the way, HIPAA compliant. So get them to say it. Use these dare I say stupid rules to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Make them tell you and make them know, remind them this is a recorded call. You know, uh, tell you have to tell me. And I make it sound like the insurance companies are spying on me. You and I
Mm-hmm.
both know that it's only going to be released if there's a complaint. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, make them
We
say it.
we've gotten some dumb complaints, and so I say CYA on everything.
I have no idea how much I make until I really don't know how much I make on
Yeah, I
each.
know. I mean, I write a lot of ACA, and some of the ACA carriers don't even pay us, but it is what it is. But we've seen that before. Now, HAFA and everybody's trying to help fight it, but they're erroneously applying a law that doesn't apply to ACA agents. It applies to the carriers and group brokers. Anyways, CYA on everything. Record everything, even if you're a face-to-face agent, record everything with their permission if you're in a state that requires two-party consent. But if I'm going to do a face-to-face, if I was to do a face-to-face appointment with you today, Kathy, I would
You'd
take my
have your
fancy,
necklace.
I would have my necklace or my fancy dancy iPhone and say, Kathy, I don't know about you, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast today. Is it okay if we record this appointment so we remember what we have to do afterwards? Because a lot of times I'll say, oh, yeah, I'll look that up when I get home. Oh, you have a question, and it might not be relevant to the actual application, but they want to know what gyms they can go to with their, you know, plan renew or whatever, things that you don't
Hmm.
have memorized, right? And also I'll
Right.
look that up when I get home of what gyms are in this network for silver sneakers or whatever, or
That's
what.
another thing that is wonderful if you have a HIPAA approved program that you can
Mm-hmm,
run your notes through
mm-hmm.
that that gives you an end list, an
Yes.
action. No, it's really nice. But I don't do in person.
I don't do in person anymore either.
But if
But
I did, I would probably take my phone out, put it on the desk, and say, while I'm recording, I would say,
mm-hmm,
this is how I take my notes. Is it okay with you if I record this so that we have
exactly.
a session? And if they say no, then of course I would turn it off. But if they
Mm-hmm.
said, yes, I have it on the recording, they gave permission to
That's
record.
right. That's right.
So
I don't know
that's what
why
I would do.
anybody would really say no, because they can't remember what they had for breakfast either, you know? And a lot of
Yeah.
them go into their doctor's offices now and ask to record the instructions that their doctor gives them. because it's really important. Did my doctor say take this once a day or twice a day? Am I supposed to
Yeah,
eat breakfast food? I don't know. You know,
exactly.
I got in trouble
So,
with my dentist yesterday, and I was like, I didn't know that. Nobody told me I wasn't supposed to eat a steak dinner the night before.
okay. Well, let's kind of focus on what the agents can do right now with all of this activity that's going on because you're in upline, so
Yes.
you see it. What should they be doing? And by the way, thank you for kind of training
Mm-hmm.
to talk to people that have Medicare Advantage plans about hospital indemnity because a couple of last week, I think I was talking with a client
Mm-hmm.
and she said, Kathy, I can't afford these hospital bills. She
Mm-hmm.
had multiple. Now, this was before I started offering, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, client, about this, but she had multiple hospital stays in 2025, and her bills
Mm-hmm.
amount to over $10,000, and she does not have the money. She says, Kathy, I don't know how I'm going to pay this. And so now, after or during or whatever, whenever I'm talking to somebody about Medicare Advantage, I
Mm-hmm.
bring up that situation. I say, I had this
Mm-hmm.
client and so now I'm offering hospital indemnity to everybody except the poor people in California who can't buy it after they turn 65, which is a stupid rule,
That's a stupid one.
because that's when they need it, right? But anyway, so I can't AEP, and I know that there are people who have shorter appointments than me, but the way that I run my appointments, they take every minute that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them even run to where I can't go to the bathroom between appointments, but I'm scheduling December 9th and beyond
Mm-hmm.
for all of these hospital indemnity appointments. So thank you for that. And I'm
You're
telling people,
welcome.
look, I just want you to see how much it's going to cost. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
force you into buying anything. And I haven't had one no.
Mm-hmm.
They've all said, yeah, let's talk about it. But
Mm-hmm.
especially when I'm going over what the out of network hospitalization is going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a big gorilla plan where I live, where if you go out of network, they have to pay for 17 days. 17 days with
It's a
out of
lot.
network costs. It's almost $600 a day for 17 days if they go out of network. It's crazy.
So what I tell agents, and there's a lot of different carriers that we like. Like I have probably about four carriers I like for hospital indemnity. You know, I think agents don't offer it because they're like, well, I don't know who has the best price in Bluffington, South Carolina for the
It,
68-year-old today.
it doesn't have to be the best price. Just get them
That's
something so that they
exactly
don't go
right.
bankrupt.
And my friend Andrew Saul has been opening my eyes to it doesn't have to be the lowest price. You are not shopping for gas, you are shopping for insurance, right? The lowest price often might not have all the bells and whistles and it might not have the rate stability or the carrier stability, right? And we've been learning that with Medicare supplements as a lot of the cheap Medicare supplements have imploded recently, right? They
Which
come
has been
in.
my prediction. I don't sell a
I
plan
don't,
that's been around less than
same,
5 years.
same.
Five
I
years.
offer it because better than nothing. And then you know what? Do a rate sheet for yourself. That area that you work, they're all going to be the same. If you work in one county, like if I was to work in Harris County, Texas, the rates for a 65-year-old are not going to change from today to tomorrow. It's not.
That's funny because I don't even do that. I do a screen share and I use one. I never say that's going to be the lowest rate.
Mhm.
This is not what I say. I say, look, if you have multiple hospital stays, this could really be an issue. Let's do a quote to see what it could cost to cover your hospital stays
Mhm.
on this plan. And let's say their plan is 395 a day for 7 days. Then I try to get them a plan that will cover that. I never say this is going to be the cheapest rate. I just say here's what it is and I show them one carrier. Right now, I'm only using one carrier because I sell a lot of their Medicare supplement plan, and I know the website. It's just easy for me to use that same website, so I don't have to learn something new. And you'd be surprised. People look at it and they say, "Okay, okay."
Mhm. But just offering hospital indemnity should double your sales as AEP because a hospital indemnity plan, first of all, it pays out the month that you write it. You're not waiting until January.
But you know what? I've been having them start in January.
Okay, okay. But
You
guess
know,
what?
to match.
Kathy, Kathy?
I
If
know I
if
could have it
somebody
started immediately.
if somebody has a Medicare Advantage plan today, they're likely to have an expense between now and January to go.
I know, but
Okay,
remember,
Kathy.
remember though. So baby steps, Joanna, baby
Okay.
steps. So
Next year, Kathy's gonna write it for
I,
October.
well, maybe, but I'm scheduling these appointments for after AEP is over.
That's fine.
So, the earliest they would be January 1,
That's
right?
fine. That's fine.
So,
But
but
offering
baby
it
steps,
is a
baby
big
steps.
thing. Here's the thing I'm still seeing, Kathy. I am an upline to amazing agents. Top flight agents are the best trained agents in the country, in my biased belief. Um, Agents are still afraid of offering it, and maybe because of things like they think they can go back later because appointments like you, they're stacked, like they're stressed. Like my top producers sometimes doing 14 people in a day. And here's what
Mm.
I tell people, Kathy. You don't have to, but you could say, Kathy, it's a busy time of year. Some of my clients have 23 prescriptions, some of them have five. Sometimes the appointment before you might run over. I'll call you between 9 and 9:30.
Okay, well, that works for you. About 85% of my clients, when I call, they say, "Oh, you're right on time. I've been sitting here waiting for you to call." So that would not work for me. I'm known for being on, like, that
You
is my
can be
brand.
and still go to the bathroom.
Well, my appointments are supposed to end. My longest appointment is supposed to be 50 minutes. My longest appointment. But sometimes you just can't get people off the phone. And then I say, I let my phone ring
Hmm.
and I say, "I'm
Kathy, I'm
sorry." It's so true. And then I'll say, "Look, I need to use the restroom before my next appointment, so I really have to go."
Kathy, nobody's gonna be mad if you're 2 minutes late because you went to the bathroom. Nobody's
I
gonna be mad.
know. I know. All I'm saying, never been late, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's very quick. It's a
Hmm.
little stressful because it's so long. I can't do a 30-minute appointment with an existing client. I know there are listeners that do that, and that's how they get so many new applications. I
Hmm.
can only do at the most, if I was really pushing it, maybe 10 applications in a day. But that's
So,
not my
an
preference.
existing client where you have all their data already on our CRM, all their prescriptions, all their medications, is taking you 50 minutes?
Sometimes because I'll give you an example. So
Hmm.
I had a client that, I don't remember if this was a client or not, but they were set for yesterday to do a Medicare Advantage plan. And so, because they had a Medicare Advantage plan, and I'm like, okay, well, you can stay on that plan. If not, there's this other popular Humana plan they're really liking this year. And I started getting into it. She says, "Kathy, we want to do a Medicare supplement." This is the Medicare supplement that I did not think was going to go through that actually went through. So I had to switch gears. I had to
Hmm.
go in. The website crashed.
Hmm.
So I said, "Okay, we're going to put yours on hold and we're going to go to the wife's."
Hmm.
I said, "We're going to do your application now." She didn't want a supplement. She just wanted the Medicare Advantage. So we went
Hmm.
ahead and did her application. Then when she was done, I went and finished up the supplement and then had to do the drug plan. This is the one where the drugs, it was a long conversation because
Hmm.
his drugs that he had already entered, number one, probably a third of them were wrong.
Hmm.
And number two of them we had to talk about because they were not going to be covered.
Hmm.
And so some of these conversations have to be a little bit longer. Otherwise, I don't lose. The majority of my clients don't leave me.
Hmm.
You know, they stay with me.
Hmm.
A few, there's always a little bit of turnover, but the majority of my, I would say, I haven't done an analysis on this, but just eyeballing it, probably 98% are stay with me. I
Hmm.
might lose a few every year. I would say in my book of 670, I probably lose about 20 clients a year,
Hmm.
you know, but I more than make up those. And anyway, so back to the listener, less me, more about the listener. Uh, Joanna's point is you can do both. You don't have to be like me. Mine is a very, very baby step because I never to do anything except Medicare. So I never even wanted to bring it up. But now,
I,
especially since Joanna's been ragging on me for the last couple of years, and then I
the
had this,
peer pressure.
I know, and then I had this client, I had this helped,
Yeah.
and I didn't. So the thing is that if you are not this because you're afraid of what the client is going to say,
Be afraid of the
use my
client not being able
story.
to.
Use my story, listener. Say, hey, I have a friend who's in the insurance business, and if we're not friends yet, reach out to me on, whatever, and say hi, and then we'll be friends. Or,
Exactly.
hey,
Yeah.
but just say she had a client that had a couple of hospitalizations, and now she owes over $10,000, and she could have been covered for like 20, $30 a month. So it's something you really need to be offering at least that one thing, at least the hospital indemnity to your Medicare Advantage clients, because that's where they're going to run into trouble. And cancer, that's cancer is where they hit their max out of pocket. So think about these things. A lot of
Well,
our clients can't afford this stuff.
so here's the thing, Kathy. You have to think about your clients without your wallet and your experience, right? So I wasn't always in the financial position I am today. In my previous life, even when I worked for the federal government, I did live almost paycheck to paycheck. Having to get my car fixed, for example, would set me back. I would have to start putting stuff on credit cards, right? We proved during COVID that most Americans couldn't afford a surprise bill, whether it's a blown tire or a blown transmission or something like that. Like they can't. Many people, and I see this every day. I run a couple consumer facing website Facebook groups, and people are saying all I get is my social security check of $1,600 a month, right? All I get is this. Many people don't have any savings. They don't have a bank account to reach out to. They don't have family members to borrow it from. They have anxiety over a $300 a day times 5 days or whatever bill, even for 2 days. They don't have the extra $600, Kathy.
Oh, and guess what? We ain't just talking about Medicare Advantage. We're talking about
No.
ACA.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, these people that you're getting plans, especially the ones where they're not paying much for it,
Hmm.
they can't they can't afford a lot of times, and I don't want to lump everybody into the same category, but a lot of times these people cannot afford a hospitalization bill, and let's face it, ACA does not cover that very well.
Kathy, I have ACA and I went to the ER a couple months ago with chest pains thinking I was having some type of episode. I literally thought I was having a stroke or something, like, because it was lasting for 6 hours and it was abnormal for me. I go to the ER at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And now I do have money in the bank account, but on my ACA that I pay $498 a month for with a 7,000 max out of pocket, my emergency room bill, my copay was $1,000
Well,
just for the ER.
I think we talked about this before. I have a high deductible plan.
Mm-hmm.
I pay at the time I was paying, I forget what it was, but I pay about $900 a month now.
Hmm.
$5,000.
Yeah.
And $5,000. I hit my well, it wasn't the max out of pocket because my deductible was like 5,000 and my max out of pocket was like 6850.
Yeah.
So I hit my max out of pocket this year. This is the first time ever I've ever hit a max out of pocket. But had I been one of my clients, I bet that would have put a real hardship. Now, for me, I can pay that because I was an advisor, like I've
Yeah,
done
but
a lot of
still,
planning.
Kathy,
That's a
sold
lot of money.
ourselves. Hold on. I'm going to put this on my thing. If we sell ourselves an out of pocket protector plan, I'm not going to name any brands, it would have covered my. Now, this is where I got lucky, even though I do have $1,000 in my bank account. That day, the girl comes and says, "We're not charging you your copay because we're new and we're just looking for Google reviews."
Oh, I remember when you said that.
Yeah,
That's
so
so
I was
cool.
lucky, but I'm not always lucky. And I've had to go to the ER multiple times in my life. Life happens. Your ACA customers, your Medicare customers. Now I'm an ER, on Medicare Advantage, ERs are normally about $125, not a whole lot of money. But on ACA, they're about $1,000, sometimes even more, right? So bundle it with an out of pocket protector. We like Manhattan, we like a couple other brands, and you can even add that onto a hospital indemnity plan. Like you can add different features onto a couple of those different plans. Find what
What are
you
you
like.
what are you considering? And I've never heard that term before,
Yeah,
out-of-pocket protector. What is
it's
that?
one of the names for Manhattan. Manhattan has an out of pocket protector plan.
What exactly is it? Is it can is anything like
Yeah,
cancer?
right. Specifically, and there's others out there on the market, but I was taught this one because my ACA manager Tamara sells a lot of this, and so does my cohort Zach Pashke. He got me onto this, but this is it's a supplemental gap filler, right? It's not a replacement for major medical, but it's meant to be used in addition. It can cover daily hospital confinement, hospital admission benefits, doctor's visits, so like you can submit it for reimbursement. Now what it does is it pays you directly unless you choose to assign it to the hospital, so it gives you flexibility on coverage. So let's say you go and use us at a network and you have to pay a, even on your Medicare Advantage, that crazy out of pocket for out of network, you can get reimbursed on this, and it's renewable. And I don't know the age, I think it goes up to like 69 in some states, but we use this with most of our ACA.
Okay, so it's
Mhm.
not a lot of our Medicare Advantage clients won't qualify because they're too old, but our
This is
ACA
for our
will.
ACA. Yeah, we use it mostly for ACA.
Okay.
And it's meant to fill the gaps, hospitals for injuries, and they reimburse you a set dollar amount. It's not the percentage of the bill. And that's why they like it. Um, my Tamara and Zach have whole trainings on it. I'm not the trainer for that product, obviously. Like that's why I
That's really
hire
inter
experts. Yeah.
that's really interesting. Like, I'm totally interested in this because, I just told you I have a high deductible plan.
Yeah, I
So,
just convinced myself I was going to go sign up for it. I should have signed myself up for it before because I was window shopping my ACA because window open, even though we're recording this on Halloween, and November 1st, tomorrow, opens the ACA open enrollment. And I know, oh God, now I have more phone calls. But I have to maintain health insurance, but on her way, I have to maintain insurance for her. And I don't know her health status or whatever, but pediatrician and everything. So I was window shopping our plans, and we are going to have significant out of pockets. The out of pocket plan maximum for ACA next year is 10,200 in Texas. And I don't know what life brings this year. I didn't hit my max quite, but I did have a lot of life events. Different things came up. That emergency room visit where they ran a CT, they ran multiple tests. I got the billing stuff from the carrier that always does it, and they billed like 18,000. I didn't pay any of that. My ER visit covered that. But you never know. You never know when you're going to have an accident or illness. And so I think it's important, even if you have some liquid assets, why spend all the liquid assets when you can use an insurance product to help cover it, right? So I'm going to go sign myself up for this. And I didn't spend the overnight in the hospital, so I should qualify. We're going to look at the qualifications and stuff. But why spend $1,000 if I can get insurance to reimburse me for that, right? So I just
exactly.
convinced myself to sell it myself.
Okay,
Um,
well, I'm still waiting for you to buy the dental insurance that you keep promising me that you're going to buy. So
how
we'll
about you
we'll
just sell
see.
it to me?
I sent you a link. I sent you a link yesterday when
She
I heard
did.
you complaining. So I'm like, here's the
Hold on,
link.
hold on.
Sign up.
My complaint yesterday, I went to my dental appointment. It was a civilian dentist that the VA sent me to. They were going to pay the bill. However, the dentist, in conversation with me as he was getting prepping me for a dental surgery for an extraction and an implant, and he said that he needs me to be in an OR setting with an anesthesiologist monitoring my breathing because he couldn't do it safely. And I respect the dentist that says that. He's like, he looked at me. He's like, Joanna, you're already choking. I haven't touched you yet. And I
And
was
we
like,
need Joanna alive. We don't want
yeah.
Joanna to die from a dental procedure. So I fully support that.
I
But
cried because I was
still,
like, but sometimes, guys, sometimes you just it's there's more to the story than what you see on this. You know what I'm saying? That's
Exactly. But
that like
but Joanna is promising that she is going to cover herself with dental
I
insurance
am.
and now with the gap insurance. And
I
I'm going to
am.
check it out because
I'm gonna
we'll
do it
we'll
today.
see.
Guess what? My birthday's Sunday, so I want to do it today to see if I can get a cheaper rate than.
Hey, did you get that little gifty thing I sent you?
I did. Thank you so much. It's sitting right on my stairs.
Oh, good. I'm
I-
glad.
It already
So
has
for
pillowcases in it to go upstairs.
for the listener, Joanna, like, I don't know, fell down the
I
stairs or tripped
did.
or something.
And
And
that's
I
another
said,
reason you should have gap coverage because you
that's
don't know when
right.
you're going to fly down the
She
stairs.
is a walking accident, let me tell you. She's always in the hospital, it seems like. So I went on Temu. I used to have one when I had stairs. Mine was,
It has
it was a really,
handles on it and everything so you can the stairs, not just like
yeah,
a basket. Because like before, I would have a basket, and baskets are kind of wonky to
yes,
carry. So this one
yeah.
has it's meant to go over the stair, and it has handles, so I could just grab it with one hand and carry whatever's in it upstairs. Because like going up my stairs seems like a field trip, and I moved. Kathy,
But anyway, I'm glad you got it. And I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it checked all the boxes that I was looking for you. So
functionality is important. Yes,
That
thank you.
that's what I got. That's why I got it for you. But anyway, so for the listener, please just go out there, ask your clients about hospital indemnity. Please, please, please.
Oh, Kathy, you don't need permission to talk to possible indemnity and out of pocket protector in the parking lot because you're not talking about Medicare
Yeah, go stick flyers all over everybody's windshields. Make yourself
everywhere.
annoying.
Kathy, it's all if you don't have enough activity, it's because you're not asking because you don't need permission to talk about dental. You don't need permission to talk about hospital indemnity. You don't need permission to talk about out of pocket protector, gap plans, National General, Manhattan. You don't need permission to talk about that. You can have conferences about it. You could talk about it at CVS dental counter. There's no rules against it. Go create the activity. And that's what we're trying to inspire
That's
guys
right.
is if you don't have activity, use dental products, hospital indemnity products, out of pocket protector products, and go create the activity. Because I bet you over 90% of these seniors walking around, their agent never offered them any gap fillers. Because most
No,
agents
it's
just wait, thank
I
you, ma'am.
I didn't.
And
Okay, and
Kathy's a good agent.
I can tell you what else I'm going to do. So on follow-ups,
Mm-hmm.
because all of us, when we have a Medicare Advantage, especially for the first time, you want to do that 30, 60-day follow-up, right? A 30, 60, 90-day follow-up. At least one of these follow-ups, you should include how you're going to cover these expenses. It's just a question. How are you going to cover these expenses? I did talk with somebody earlier this week, and I said, you know, this expense could be X amount of money. Do you have that, do you have that money in the bank? She says, yes, I do. And I said, well, then you probably don't need a hospital indemnity plan. She says, wait a minute. So, just ask. Just ask. Help
Yeah.
people cover these expenses. It's not that a month, and you could be really doing somebody a big favor. So that's how we want to end it. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll see you next time on the Insurance Business Babes podcast. Bye.
Bye.